शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पार्श्वदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, so I'll share the screen. So we are reading from an book, devotion. You're all able to understand. It's not going tough for all of us, right? But I'm doing.
Yes, able to understand you.
Krishna was all auspicious is done, and happiness in Krishna consciousness is done. The rareness of devotion service is completed yesterday.
Okay.
This also, no, sorry, yesterday we completed this one. Happiness of becoming one with the Supreme, that we completed. Attracting Krishna also we did. First stage of devotion also we started. Till where we have done Virat Prabhu? You remember?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I don't remember the exact paragraph.
Yeah. This we read. No one can take devotion unless he has some previous connection. We read this.
Yeah, that one we did, that one.
Anyway, for persons who are naturally, yeah, this we read. This also we read. Practice means employing our senses. We read. Remember? Walking absolutely. Yeah. Here we can read from here. There are certain prescribed methods from. I think from here you can. I don't know whether we started reading this section, this paragraph only, but can still revive. We'll start reading. And those of you who can put video on, please put your video also on and start reading. Yes. Go ahead.
Shall I start, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
There are certain prescribed methods for employing our senses and mind in such a way that our dormant consciousness for loving Krishna will be invoked, as much as the child with a little practice can begin to walk. One who has no basic walking capacity cannot walk by practice. Similarly, Krishna consciousness cannot be aroused simply by practice. Actually, there is no such practice. When we wish to develop our innate capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes which, by our accepting and executing them, will cause that dormant capacity to be invoked. Such practice is called sadhana bhakti.
So Krishna cannot be aroused simply by practice. There is no such practice. You should have any capacity for devotion. There are certain processes. I was saying the example of priming. You remember? Virat Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you explain it for others also?
Oh, not that much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, can you explain?
Not that much.
So priming means there's a pump in the village, and then or whatever, like different ways. So then you put water first in the pump, to get the underground water. First you have to put water from outside. And when the water is put from outside, then what happens? The gap goes away, the air gap goes away, and then so much water will come from the underground. Water is already there in the under table. I mean, in the table, water table is there. No, underground water is already there. So much water is there. But still, when the pump is there, you try to get it. Only air only comes out. Nothing water is coming out because there's an air gap. So you have to fill water from outside. You know this, no? So Is it very difficult or not relatable? I don't know because I have seen this in village. They put the water. You have not seen this kind of thing.
No, Prabhuji.
You don't, you're all high tech. That's why you don't know. In West, you don't find any pipe or something. It's a plumber only knows. You don't know anything.
Yeah. In England, you just turn the tap and water
Yeah,
comes.
in India, everything is open, so everybody knows what's happening. The motor is a skeleton will be visible, his wires are visible, everything is visible. The Indians, they know many things like that, I think. Anyway, so once one Western devotee, it is a joke aside, one Western devotee, he commented that in India they don't hide the reality. You go to some toilets, no, Indian toilet, my lord, it is sometimes it is overflowing, urine is there so much. Because somebody is not, they don't even sometimes flush properly, it's like that, just lying here. Things are like so dirty, smelling so bad. They're saying they don't hide the reality of the material world. They make it so visible that body is abominable. All abnormal substances are coming out from the body, and these are horrible. That is the reality is there. But in the West, they hide the reality. You go to the washroom, it is sort of pick and clean, like that. And they put some fragrance also there. And sometimes they put the TV and they put the newspaper. You can just be there. You will feel like, it's nice. Okay. Then they call it restroom also. Restroom is like, can you take rest there? Like you're nicely resting there. I don't know why they call it restroom. So that is only that they can stay there for long. They can take rest because they eat a lot of this, no? Maida, white flour. So to clear their stomach also they'll take time. So they may just sit there and keep resting. Maybe that reason. Maybe that is only, no? Restroom, just rest there. Kind of. Correct, no? Like that, I think. Mostly. Yes.
Maybe, Prabhuji. I'm not. I am not that expert at this topic.
Okay. But maybe, no? It's possible, right?
Yeah, I always thought like you need to rest to.
You need
I'm
to
not sure. Maybe the other devotees know.
you need to rest.
Yeah, it's a room to rest and like relax.
Relax. That's what I'm saying. How can somebody relax there? In material world, nobody wants to relax, wants to come out. See, washroom is in India, the toilets are made in such a way that you want to quickly come out of it. You cannot rest there. But why they're saying you relax? Why you relax? So relax that put newspaper and so many things. Correct, no? Virat? Makes sense. They hide the
Yes,
reality.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, they hide the reality. This is an abominable place, but they make it like it is very good place. And they're telling restroom, to relax here. Right? Who wants to relax in washroom? It's like rest and toilet. Is the toilet is one has to come out. Correct? Virat?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So the thing is, so he was commenting that in India they don't hide the reality. Same way, you see when somebody dies also, they will take the dead body and go in a procession and make everybody see him, and then they burn the body so that they can see how the body is burnt to ashes, and then people can become sober to become detached. Mm. Correct, no? But in West, who dies, nobody comes to know only. Correct. No? In India also sometimes when the patients are there, they have something. So then if you see many hospitals, they will be open. There will be the ward and people can watch from outside also how people are so much miserable. So the point is that in India one can get more realization about the challenges of life, the hardships of the bad part of material life. In West, everything they make it so polished. People may not even understand that you have to die, you have to become sick also. Everything is so much hidden. It look like everybody is so they have all fashion, and glamour and nice gadgets, these things are only highlighted. So challenges and all not sometimes known to people. Correct, no? This is how West, they hide so much. Yeah. And they hide even their emotions also. No? They are so miserable each other, but nobody wants to show their vulnerability. I am good. Thank you. I am good. I'm great. I'm doing great. And they don't want to even share because they don't have trust. They feel if I share my vulnerability with others, I don't know, people will take advantage of my weakness. So that's why people very feel tremendous loneliness also. In India, they are very open, open about their situations and all. So and then people also want to help in certain ways, like that. Becomes more. Anyway, I'm not here to criticize America or a Western country. I'm here just trying to make you understand that how priming process works. That's what my initial agenda was. So yeah, so priming actually is the process by which you pour actually the water, and then so much water comes out eventually because that air gap goes away. Same way we also have that gap. That air gap is like Maya. Maya is there. You take Krishna in chanting, reading, hearing, and all, then that gap goes away. That Maya portion goes away. And then again, you can see so much of water will come out. So that so much of Krishna consciousness you can see from the person. So from where the Krishna consciousness is coming? It is already there. The dominant state Krishna consciousness is already there. Only thing is that one may be having that covering of ignorance and like you see now Xavier Prabhu. So Krishna conscious he is becoming now. So now apparently he might not be Krishna conscious say 10 years before, 15 years before. He might not be. No. But the Krishna consciousness was there dormant in his heart. And when some favorable situation came, when his friend gave him Gita and all that thing, you can see now, no, how so much is coming. Because now that when he took some message, when he did some chanting, so now you can see how Krishna consciousness is manifesting more and more. So it's like a priming, it's coming more and more like that. And his eagerness for chanting, eagerness for service, eagerness for lecture is increasing. So how it is happening? Prabhupada would also tell this. All these hippies, they never cared about God. They never went to church. But now they're mad after God. Prabhupada would say, how does they have become mad for God? Because the dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened. Like a fire, fire was there and just came out now. Like that. Correct, Xavier Prabhu?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. And somebody may think, these people never cared about God. These people never went to church. These people never talked about anything about God. And how these people have become such great devotees? Because the dormant Krishna consciousness is there in everyone. That's the point. Yeah, go ahead further. Who will read next? Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Should we tell Venu Prabhu? Let's see whether he's there.
Okay.
Venu Prabhu, would you like to read?
Okay. There are certain every living entity under the spell of material energy is held to be in an abnormal condition of madness. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is called generally the conditioned soul is mad because he is always engaged in activities which are the cause of bondage and suffering. The spirit soul in his original condition is joyful, blissful, eternal, and full of knowledge. Only by his implication in material activities has he become miserable, temporary, and full of ignorance. This is due to Vikrama. Vikrama means actions which should not be done.
No, not
Therefore, we
Vikrama,
must
Vikarma.
practice
So
sadhana bhakti, which means to offer Mangala Harati, deity worship.
Prabhu,
In the morning, to
Vikarma.
refrain from certain material
Able to hear me,
activities,
Haribol?
to offer
Can hear you.
obeisance to the spiritual master, and to follow many other rules.
Yeah, go ahead. So I think he's not able to read. You can read.
Yeah. Therefore, we must practice sadhana bhakti, which means to offer Mangal Arati, deity worship in the morning, to refrain from certain material activities, to offer obeisances to the spiritual master, and to follow many other rules and regulations which will be discussed here, one after another. These practices will help one become cured of madness, as a man's mental disease is cured by the directions of a psychiatrist. So this sadhana bhakti cures the conditioned soul of his madness under the spell of Maya, material illusion.
So every devotee under the spell of material energy is held to be an abnormal condition of madness. Prabhupada said this, that like sometimes somebody is criminal and he is given he's supposed to be given punishment, but then they say, oh, this criminal actually is having some he has some mental problem, he's crazy, that's why he did that. Because of that crazy, on the ground of crazy, he's being crazy, he may be given, he may be relieved or less punishment. Then Prabhupada makes a point, actually everybody is crazy, that's why he does crime. So then you don't have to give punishment to anybody then that way. So some craziness is there. That fellow, everybody has some craziness. That's all the people are doing crime only. So the point is that one's craziness is because of his being under the illusory energy of the Lord. So that's why every living entity under the spell of material energy is held to be in an abnormal condition of madness. Generally, the condition is bad because he's always engaged in activity which are the cause of bondage and suffering. You see. So, John, knowingly or unknowingly, we are attached to things which are meant to give us suffering. Correct. That's what happens. So, at least when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are given knowledge. So, gradually we can overcome our madness. You understand? What I'm doing, I'm killing my own self. Like that. It's not good. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says generally the condition is mad because he's always engaged in activities which are the causes of bondage and suffering. The spirit soul in his original condition is joyful, blissful, eternal, and full of knowledge. Only by his implication in material activities has he become miserable, temporary, and full of ignorance, you see. So people actually, the spiritual is, so originally we are all blissful and happy, but because we are got entangled in this material world and with material activities, that's why we are finding this miserable condition of life, like that. So our natural position is to blissful. Krishna Das, Bindas, like that. So the devotee is naturally happy, joyous in nature, while being in Krishna consciousness. But because we are put up in this kind of material entangled, in the entanglement of material existence, and we are doing material activities, that's why we become miserable. And before, if you remember, we discussed about it. The cause of suffering is ignorance. You remember that the cycle? We discussed that. This is vikarma. Vikarma means action which should not be done. Like people, Prabhupada says that many drops of semen is equivalent to one drop of, many drops of blood is equal to one drop of semen, he says. So now many, modern boys, they get into the habit of masturbation and all that thing. So they're knowingly, wasting their semen, you can see. So this is like killing themselves, actually. It's like so much of blood they're, just wasting. So, and this is deadly that way. Maranat Bindu Patanat, it is said. So when knowingly he wastes his semen like this, he's actually getting closer to death, like that. So that's why one should know that he's harming himself. He's actually killing himself by indulging in masturbation, this kind of activities. So if somebody is into habituation, if somebody is habituated like that, one should seek guidance and gradually overcome all this, overcome. And that is possible to overcome by sublimating this energy in positive direction, because it's the energy which is actually when one can sublimate it by engaging in spiritual activities. So then one can become more and more increased in his longevity, his memory, his his overall ability to grasp thing and all that will increase, like that. You understand? No? So that's how one can know from the scriptures what is right, what is wrong. No? Correct. No? So people do activities which are very, very harmful for them. You can see that. Like people who get into drugs. No? Now what is this? Madness only, right? You like smoke. When somebody gets smoke, starts coughing, right? But he's putting smoke within only. No? Can you imagine? He's putting all smoke inside, stuffing smoke within his body. Same with the drugs, no, it's harmful, no, but he's putting the drugs inside because he got addicted to it. He's harming himself, no. So that's why the madness is there, no. So divinity is mad like that. Same way as running after, can see, opposite sex, no. So much of enormous miseries are there, no, because they don't know, like some boys, they start into living relationship and things like that, and then the girl's parents don't agree, and or sometimes they only have some fight and go away, and so much they mess up with their heart and mind actually, and their life also. So much of suffering they get eventually. You can see that, but they don't understand. No? They go with this kind of instincts. So one should be knowing that one should not get into those things which are harmful for him. But what to do? People don't know about what is harmful for them, what is not harmful, and they don't have any idea. That's why devotees can live life, consciously choosing what is actually going to bring them happiness, and what causes them suffering. They gradually try to overcome those kinds of activities, those kind of addictions, those kinds of habits. One can work on it. It's possible by Krishna consciousness. It is possible to work on those habits. At least the devotees has the knowledge. He knows what is right, what is wrong. But the fellows, there are many doctors. They tell the youths, oh, you can do the masturbation. It's good only. They may just facilitate like that. So this is demoniac. They have their own demonic understanding. You can see. They're telling, yeah, go on. This is good only. Something like that. They may say. But if you see from the Shastra, then those are proper doctors. They will proper, people like Ayurveda and all. They will understand that how this is it's bogus what they're saying. So one should actually, first of all know what is right, what is wrong, and then one should try to gradually overcome his wrong inclinations and wrong activities and wrong kind of endeavors in wrong direction, So those things one can try to overcome by the help of devotees, with the help of Krishna consciousness, and one knows also what is the right path, and one can gradually, increase his right activities more and more. So at least devotee knows, he has the wisdom, and then he can work on himself. But outside people, they don't have any idea. So this is due to vikarma. Vikarma means actions which should not be done. Therefore, we must practice sadhana bhakti, which means to offer mangalarti. So this is to be done. So in refrain from certain mental activities, offer visit to spiritual master, to follow many others. Will be discussed here and after another. See. Yeah. So this principle will help one become cured of madness. You see, because Krishna consciousness aroused, then madness will go away like that. So instead of eyeing lustily at women, one will start respecting the women as mothers, or even if they may not appear like that, they may be. Then one will see them as they have become victimized by Maya actually. So one will look with empathy instead of with lusty eyes, or eyes with eyes to exploit, instead of that, or instead of so gradually the eyes of lust will go, and once one will develop, when we look at women with respect, with dignity, or with empathy, how they are victimized by Maya, and they need Krishna consciousness like that. If they are in a not a proper way, they are living. So this is how a devotee's vision changes by dint of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So this principle will help one become cured of madness. So as a man's mental disease is cured by the direction of a psychiatrist, so this sadhana bhakti cures the conditions of his madness under the spell of Maya, material illusion. So that's why we become more and more sober and wise and sane and human. Today I was talking to one boy, I was telling that something I was talking, then he said, Prabhu, I'm less than human, he was saying. Very, humbly he was saying this thing. So I was thinking that how this boy can tell like this. So people, actually Prabhupada says that way. I mean, it's not easy for somebody to say like this. All of us have many things to work on, which by which then we can be on human standard, the proper human standard. Like this is not at all being human, like to just be very ignorantly sleeping till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. My Nani would say to my mama and all that, she'd say, "Are to manai banja, ud ja naha dhela." I mean, you get up, become a human, take bath, like that she would say. So I think manai banja, Nani, mama log to manai to hai. I would say that. All mama, they're all they're humans only, right? But what did she mean that you should act like a human? That means get up early, take bath, so that like that. So that's why we have to qualify to be also human. And for that, Krishna consciousness actually can make us best of the humans. Right. So as you increase your Krishna consciousness, you automatically develop qualities which are in goodness, and that is befitting the humans, or that is a real human who is living life in goodness and also living a devotional life, which is best of the human. It's a life in devotion to Krishna, best of the human. So pure devotees are the best humans. Okay. We'll pause here. Any reflection anybody has? Okay, just read this last one line. Maybe you can read. Somebody join now. Okay, let us read. Okay, Pranav, you can. Pranav, you read on. So Xavier, you can read. Narada Muni.
Narada Muni mentions this Sadhana Bhakti in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, verse 32. He says there to King Yudhishthira, my dear king, one has to fix his mind on Krishna conscious, or one has to fix his mind. Let's see here.
On Krishna.
My dear king, one has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. That is called Krishna consciousness. It is the duty of the Acharya, the spiritual master, to find ways and means for his disciple to fix his mind on Krishna. That is the beginning of Sadhana Bhakti.
Okay, so we'll pause here. Any reflection or comment anybody has? Comments.
Yeah, like I like that point. Like like everyone has that like Krishna consciousness in themselves, right? Like it is dormant, I think. And then like as we start chanting, reading, and so we feel it and we feel at home, right? Like Xavier Prabhu mentioned to you, I think once. So, and we should follow like sadhana bhakti. So we basically stop the madness and all the bad activities with the help of that.
Yeah. Actually, if you just get up in the morning, you make your health good. You make your mind works better. You grow spiritually. So only somebody who doesn't know will only sleep late. So that is madness, no? Because once we know that habit, once we know that is the advantage of it, still we don't do it. Same way somebody knows it hazardous for health, it may cause cancer. No, nobody likes it. Still he smokes. No, it's madness. This kind of madness is there, no, when we don't have Krishna consciousness. But as we become devotees, gradually we improve our. So sometimes it may take a little time, like when Prabhupada was trying to train disciples. Shamsundar Prabhu was carving deities, but in between he would smoke. Yamuna Mataji would ask Prabhupada, can I just take a puff and come back? When he would be making chapati. No, you cannot do, but and sometimes Prabhupada allowed, okay, come back. And you can no wash hands. Can you imagine? Prabhupada tolerant all that. Prabhupada is very patient teacher. He knew that they are coming from which background, and Prabhupada was not condemning them. Prabhupada was not belittling them. He was actually very much uplifting them. So he gave them space and time to work on themselves. He knew if Krishna consciousness will make effect, they will automatically become wonderful. So Prabhupada told Shamsundar, why do you allow to get separate between you and Krishna? And Prabhupada clicked together. And can you imagine he was smoking and making deities, carving the deities. And you keep sometimes cigarette there only. So Prabhupada saw their sincerity. He knew that they are not, their intent is good. They're struggling. Their vessels are weak. Sometimes in certain things, your muscles may be a little weak. But you have the wisdom and you have sincere intent. Krishna will help. We should seek help from Krishna, pray to Krishna. Krishna will guide us. And the point is that we have to keep working on those things. When you have the wisdom, we should work on it. We should not think that, oh, chalta hai, it's fine. No, we should try to work on it. Gradually take guidance, sincerely try to work on it like that. So yes, Virat Prabhu, quickly, I think I have more time, but I may take 2 minutes more. Can you quickly tell me, Virat Prabhu? Any reflection? Devi Prabhu, Virat Prabhu.
Let's see. I like that word said, the spirit soul in his original condition is joyful, blissful, eternal, and full of knowledge. It's like the goal of getting back to Godhead or back to Krishna is to return to that condition. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yes. Yes, but that's our original nature. Yeah, any other point? Virat, you want to share anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I was just reflecting on the power of Maya, and I was reflecting on
Okay, yeah,
Krishna consciousness and Maya are.
some of your voice was breaking. Now again, can you say? I don't know, it's my problem or?
Oh, I was just reflecting on the power of Maya, and I was reflecting on the fact that Krishna consciousness and Maya are like very close to each other in terms of someone can have the wrong desire, wrong intention, wrong action, and they can go from Krishna consciousness into Maya, or someone can have good desires and good intentions, and then they can go into Krishna consciousness. So it's a very fine line, just on my reflection, from Maya and Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very careful to avoid carrying out activities which could cause bondage and suffering, because as you just mentioned, we've been given this knowledge through the scriptures and our gurus that this is the way forward, this is the way to carry out our lives through devotional service. So we should with great intention, we should try to work on our daily activities and try to focus on the devotion and try to focus on the Krishna consciousness, rather than, as the class said, rather than try to enter a condition of madness by doing the incorrect activities, which we discussed as our vikarma.
Very good point, Prabhu. Thank you. Very brilliant points. Venu Prabhu, you want to share any reflection?
Yeah. So no, I agree with the same thing. The blissful state or natural state. That's why whenever we are idle or anything, we feel peace. When we don't have any distractions, when we are calm and everything, we feel very happy because we go to our natural state of blissfulness where we have this peace, calm, and everything.
What is that? We go to peaceful state when?
Whenever you are calm, when you are away from materialistic world or distractions, or when you meditate or when you chant, or when you
are
sit
with Krishna, then you get that your normal state when you're with
Krishna. So you go back to your natural state of blissfulness. So
when you're not with Krishna, then that's a problem.
Yes.
And Punamata, you want to share any point?
Just want to say that our soul is very blissful and full of knowledge, but when we come into the contact of Maya, it becomes with full of madness. So we have to listen to our some rule regulations, follow some rule regulations, listen our spiritual master, and do sadhana bhakti, so that we can purify it.
Yeah, correct. Sadhana bhakti process is a process of purification. You follow the rules and regulations given by spiritual master, and we gradually recover our original Krishna consciousness. That is true. Yeah. And yes, so our soul means we are only the souls. We are used like that. We will say that, but we are actually soul, and we are entangled right now. But we need that purification by sadhana bhakti. We can be purified. True. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Very, very grateful to all of you. And thank you, Mataji. I think we received. Is your daughter's name Richa, Mata? Ji?
Yes.
Okay. I confirm. He told that
Yeah.
confirmation was there. Thank you for the service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare